Greetings sailors and welcome back to World of Warships and a bit more live play. We've hit patch day as of today, as of recording. We're at 11.0, is it 2 or is it 3? I can't remember. But yeah, patch day anyway, so the Atlantico dockyard is up. Super ships are in the tech tree and the first part of the Italian destroyer event is over. We're on to the second part now where you can get a collection, and I think if you complete it, or at least part of it, I'm not actually sure, I haven't checked, but you can actually get the Leone, which I think is worth doing. It's quite a fun little tier 6 and you don't see very many of them around. It's got quite a lot of barrels for its tier, but it's also very slow firing and the torpedoes are a bit weird. You've got reasonably narrow arcs, you've only got 4 of them and they're slow. Don't think they do a lot of damage either. I know that's not bad for the tier. They do reload quickly though. It's only a minute reload, but yeah, and the range is good, but they're definitely like, you're not really going to be landing lots of devastating strikes with them. However, that's not what the video is going to be. It's going to be the Cuniberti, which I was able to get with the tokens at just towards the last couple of days at the end of the part 1 of the event. I didn't quite get all of the free captains. I think I got 3 of the 4 captains. So I've got a couple of 6-point Italian captains lying around. I don't think there was anything special about them apart from the portraits being unique, but yeah, and there was no way I was going to have gotten the tier 9 without actually like spending way more doubloons. And the only reason I spent any doubloons on the event was because that 3,000 tokens was in the very first box. But that was enough to give me a leg up to get to the tier 8. Now I've only played one game in this so far. I think it's probably going to be just as awkward, if not more awkward, than the Torigo, because we're getting up to the tier now where there's a lot more radar in play, and it's progressively worse concealment as you go up the line, basically. The base concealment is a lot worse, but once you stick the concealment module on, it is only 100 meters worse, only, but 6.6 is still fairly bad for tier 8. It's also got still quite a long reload, overall 6 seconds, which is not great. You do have 6 barrels, which is, I guess, okay. AA still terrible. Speed is good. The maneuverability sort of gets progressively worse, but I think the speed gets progressively better as you go up the tiers. The rudder shift's not bad, and 650 meters is actually okay. But it's not like you're going to be doing any kind of super duper twirling dodges, and it's not got a super fast turret turn time either. Anyway, let's jump in. It's still Sansonetti, still the same skills. There is maybe a case for taking Dazzle instead of RPF. They're both incredibly useful, I think, for this, and it's a matter of trying to choose which skills are going to fit what you're doing best, because if you're trying to take all the possible useful skills, all the skills that would patch up weaker areas of this ship, you would need far more than 21 points. It's one of those kinds of lines. Right, into a game, and hooray, no submarines, at least at the moment. Maybe they'll do a patch in a few days where subs come back. I hope not. I really hope not, but yeah. So what have we got? Crash Zone Alpha, Domination, top tier, tier 6 carrier, which is still going to be a pain. But we'll see how we can deal with that. I am going to have to be a little passive to begin with, I think. 6.6 kilometers is going to be worse than all of those. I can't remember what the good job maker was it Gustav Julius or something like that, or Julius, is it a soft J with German? I can't remember, but yeah, I can't remember what concealment that has offhand. I know it's not great, but I don't think it's as bad as 6.6. And on our side, we actually have a Fantask, which might be as bad as me. Mayhan, which is, what, 6.5? Gerda might well be the stealthiest thing we've got, and that's still 6 point something, so... Yeah, they definitely have the stealth advantage. Erlen's only 5.8. Shiratsuyu is, what, 6? 6.2? There's one of the tier 7s is like 5.8, and one of them is either 6 or 6.2. And I can never remember which one is which. Fortunately, these cap circles are, I think, just about big enough for me to wiggle in to the edge of. What we'll see. Well, there's an Atlantico. Someone's just straight up bought one already. I mean, I guess you can do that if you don't particularly have the time or patience, but you do have the money. I will be doing my best to grind it out. I've brought the mandatory 3 packages, and I guess we'll see how the grind is overall. Right, there is someone in the cap, and I think they're on this side because I am spotted. Are you going to fire at me? It's the Erland, yes you are. I do have the Gerda here with me as well, and I do have that broadside, so the the SAP is going to be quite effective. But there's every chance we're going to need to... Ooh, let's get our sprint on. If we could finish this guy off, I think that would be worth taking this damage. Is he going to run on the ground? I don't think so. If it wasn't, if it was just me and the Gerda wasn't here as well, I don't think I would have even remotely tried to go in the cap. The fact the Gerda was going towards the cap. Well, let's dart away now at this point. This plane's coming closer. Maybe? That's going to be Erlen's torps. Right, Shiratsu, we know where they are. The Aviary, we know where they are. That was an expensive engagement, but we probably took out one of their most dangerous destroyers. Although a little less dangerous given there's carriers in play. But given that they're tier 6 carriers, the AA is actually somewhat effective. Also no radar, which is quite nice. Already had one game today where it was, what was it, 2 radars versus 5, and I was on the team with the 2 radars, and it wasn't fun because guess what, there was also a storm. The typhoon appeared, and at that point we were already kind of struggling, but at that point we were just totally boned because they were able to radar and control the caps, and we couldn't do diddly squat about it. So yeah, sometimes the matchmaking just decides, yeah, you're not going to have fun. Anyway, let's see if we can maybe drop torps on something. There's a Fuso up north, but I don't know if they'll last that long. Shiratsuyu, if I could find them, get them in a one-on-one. I do still have all my smoke, so I'll have the option to disengage. But they still could do a decent amount of damage to me with their guns. I'd rather wait until, well, you know, if I have to do it, then I'll do it. But ideally, their carrier would be focusing elsewhere, or even taken out of play entirely. And the carrier is focusing elsewhere at the moment, which is fine for now, but I do have to be aware that they are around. This Zeton is just YOLOing in. Like, I know the Zeton's not that fun to play, but rushing across the cap in an effort to die quicker, it's not exactly helping your team much. Okay, that's a Shiratsu under fire. I think this enemy Zeton is falling back. The torps, I think, are exactly the same in terms of damage, but you get an extra 2 kilometers of range. And I've actually dropped the torp thingy module, which gives you the extra, what is it, 5% speed. So these are the base 56 knots instead of 59, as you can get them up to with the module. I think you can get them to above 60 if you're using the captain skill as well. Right, let's remember, 6.6, don't get too close. definitely don't get too close, especially as he's got hydro as well. Right, the biggest blob of their ships is there. There's the Ranger. I could pop a smoke and maybe do a bit of pew-pews, but actually the enemy aviary is getting fairly close. They're in range now. Okay, smoke time. He's smoked as well, unfortunately. Blaze incoming, torpedo hit. Let's go for the gear smoke. I don't like that Otago being relatively close. Also, we only landed the one torpedo. Oh, and the Ramat could be nasty as well. We might want to start heading back across the cap because the aviary does outspot me. I'm definitely struggling to like these more past tier 6. The Mistral and the Aviary were quite fun, and then you get to the Luca Turigo and it's like, oh, okay. Struggling a bit more. And as I've said previously, I think about this line, but also about other lines. Not every line in the game has to be super noob friendly or any such thing. But sometimes they make things a little bit too challenging. A little bit too hard to enjoy. I'll see if I can get to the point where I'm just out of range. But Otago's his guns are pointed elsewhere. Yeah, our Gid has taken the bait and decided that he's going to go for the carrier. No, he's actually turning towards me, but we're about to have fuel smoke back. I should probably be using SAP when he's broadside like this. I mean, the HE's still doing something. It's essentially just taking advantage of his turrets being pointing in a different direction. Right, there's the Atlantico. Let's go and see if we can maybe do something with that. Like drop torps or something. Although the Ramat is rather closer. Do want to be wary of those guns though. Not the fastest firing, but you know, same reload as I got, but also a lot more guns than I've got. Is he about to go into his smoke? Yes. Right, well the Gator actually did get the Ranger, but at the cost of their own ship, which I'm not sure was kind of worth it, but... Oh, that's his smoke actually dissipating, but it's fine, he's about to go out of range anyway. Well, I don't know that I really did very much outside of the very start of this game. But, yeah, it looks like we've fairly easily won this one. This really wasn't the most challenging match ever. I'll be able to get in a last little bit of damage, but I think everyone's... No, I've just seen the points. Everyone is much too far away. Oh well, time for a slurp of tea anyway. I haven't pointed it out, but the torp launchers on this are kind of funky looking. Stacked quad launchers, which you don't see very often. Yeah, that was a fairly one-sided game, wasn't it? Oof. Right, we'll do another one of those, I think. That was pretty short. Also, I've just noticed the subs in the queue. Oh no, apparently the subs aren't quite fully... Did they change how you get the subs? I saw all the subs disappear from my port. Maybe you have to redo submissions or something. I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention to the subs in the patch notes. Okay, another top tier game. I know there's a kind of fan theory or whatever you want to call it that when you have a new ship you get kind of matchmaking for the first couple of battles. I don't know if anyone's ever actually bothered to sit down and try and gather a big enough data sample, which would be quite hard to do. So this time, Cossack, Orkan working together. Orkan's got radar. They definitely very much all out spot me. Tiger 59's got radar, so that's going to be fun. Constellation's got radar, and there's a carrier. And we have got a Cleveland, and I think that's it. Okay, 1 versus 3. That's going to make things a lot more challenging overall. Gosh, do I try the A-cap? I mean, I'm fast. I could give it a go. I do potentially have the wherewithal to make a very quick getaway if need be. I mean, one of the other skills that's... I think I... What was it? Was the Mistrale? The Aviary? I think when I played that, I still had Swift in Silence, which is another very, very tempting skill. Just for the extra bit of mobility. You're coming right over this way, aren't you? Go on, just curve around my detection radius. That's it. That's it. You just ignore me. Okay, I think I'll stick with HE shells loaded here, actually. You really do want those broadsides to make the SAP work, as you saw with that Erland. Tiger 59 is mid. I'm glad I didn't try and go there. We're on somebody's thing, though, and this is not a big enough cap to... Oh, that's the Flint, that's the Orkan, that's both of them here. That's very, very bad. Because I cannot then, in fact... Fuel smokers, the Orkan's just going to radar me. Yeah, okay, well, that's my great and good fortune. They both ended up being here. I don't know if I'm even going to get out of this alive, but I guess we'll see. What's Orkan's radar? Like 7.5? Done some damage, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get out of this alive. See, what I did there was I tried to go for a cap, and clearly that was a mistake. Yeah, this is one of those destroyers where it's really easy to get into the mindset still of, oh, I'm a destroyer, I've got smoke, I'll go for a cap. Yeah. It works at the lower tiers, but at this tier, when you've got radars, a lot more common. Yeah, anyway, the Orkan I did a bunch of damage to at least, but the Cossack's still full health. Oh well, we'll wait for this one to finish and try again, because that was all of like 3 minutes. Right, well, I mean, they had the vision advantage, they definitely had the radar advantage, but even so, this was the inverse of the last game, where this team just got thoroughly and completely spanked. Yeah, I was 4th on the team. I think even without those advantages that the enemy team had, this still would have been a loss. But that certainly sped things up some. Right, so... I've really lucked out with carriers this time around. You know, 3rd game in a row with top tier matchmaking. This time full tier 8, so... Maybe the fan theory is correct, who knows, with my massive sample size of 3 games. But in terms of getting carriers every game, yeah. However, this is a standard game, which might actually suit me better because I don't have to worry about trying to contest caps. I'm still outspotted by everything except potentially the La Fantasque, but yeah, this might be better for me overall. It's only the the carrier that is going to be a problem in terms of spotting me anywhere potentially. Is there even any radars in this game? I don't think so. Does Rochester have radar? I honestly can't remember. It might do. But again, it's a standard game, not a domination game, so yeah, that's not really going to matter nearly as much. It's one of the few times when I'm actually kind of okay with being in a standard game rather than domination, just because usually domination is by far my preference, but when I'm playing this thing, yeah, it definitely removes the pressure to go anywhere near the cap circles. Right, we got something up ahead here. I'm not going to go too far. Well, I'll say I'm not going to go too far forward. I'm already spotted. It's the Fantastic. Okay. Guess it makes sense that that's what would be fast enough. Oh, hello. What's my mouse doing? Right, we'll actually smoke up here, and I probably should have done that like a second or two sooner, because of course he's got his main battery reload booster. But we're both have sort of lost equal amounts there. In fact, I might even be able to do a bit more. He's lower health than me overall. I really just wanted to try and make a torpedo drop. Wasn't expecting to get spotted that early. Alright, well, so, you know, we have our AR boost going now. 5.6. And apparently the Fantastic does outspot me by a little bit in his current configuration. So I guess he is running Concealment Expert. He's not gone for the max gun range at the expense of all else, which is how I tend to build my French destroyers. The Harbin is a potentially kind of squashy target, but do I want to use another smoke? I don't know. Honestly, for these higher tier ones, like, faster reload would be nice, but that is problematic for other destroyers. Potentially not very fair to other destroyers. I would just give them maybe 1 or even 2 extra exhaust smokes. I think that could be the best way to do it overall. Right, he's actually firing, but he's also just outside my... yeah. The problem at the moment, especially at the higher tiers, is like Wargaming's own blurb, their own sort of description of the line and how they envisage them, is that at the lower mid tiers you're far more reliant on torpedoes, and you've got the guns where you can do nasty things to destroyers if you get the chance. But then you get to the higher tiers, and yeah, that doesn't actually functionally change that much from my experience playing them so far, because you still only have a very limited supply of fuel smokes. It's not like you can use them to do any substantial amount of damage with your guns to anything other than destroyers. So if you want to do damage to anything other than destroyers, you either wait for somebody who's distracted, like that a Targo where I was just going out of range and their guns were pointed the other way, or else you are just relying on your torpedoes, which are not particularly effective. So I don't really know quite what they have in mind. From what I've seen and read so far, the Tier 9 is absolutely not a joy to play. Oh, what am I too close to? That's going to be a Kagero. And yeah, that is not something I'm looking forward to. Yeah, it's the Kagero. It's a good thing I didn't fire my guns there. Although, oh, kind of tempted. But no, let's just keep stealth. But the Tier 10 is better, so I don't know. Maybe Tier 9 is maybe that's one that's going to end up getting buffed. We'll see. We'll see. I'm a ways off getting there yet. I've got now no way to get the tier 9 with this patch other than by paying a bunch of doubloons for a bunch of tokens, which I don't really want to do. So I will have to wait till next patch and then I can actually grind it. But of course I can still put XP on the ship in preparation. Right, so Massachusetts... I think we might try going for the Kagero actually. We'll have the benefit of the Massachusetts secondaries. This Vladivostok's just been backing up the entire time. We know the Kagero's reloading their torpedoes, although depending on their build, they might be close to reloading already. Have they backed out the other side of their smoke? Maybe? Oh, no, they are right there. And that's exactly what the SAP does or does not do to angled targets. Looking at the superstructure, you still do something, but yeah, come on, load the HE! Load the HE! There we go. Ooh. Right. Fantastic doesn't seem interested. Oh, the smoke's just about to go anyway. I'm not entirely sure what they were thinking if their smoke was about to go. That's not the best plan. Given as I'm spotted, might as well a little bit more damage. See, this worked well because I was with a bigger group of pushing ships. But you're not always going to have that team support available. The other flank has also... Yeah, so this has been 3 for 3 on completely one-sided games today. It's just I was lucky enough to be on the winning side in 2 of them. So yeah, I've been able to do a bit to support my teammates here, but I don't think I've been particularly decisive. This does feel like a rather selfish ship. I really didn't manage to do much there, and he was able to because he had the reload booster available, but oh well. So yeah, I kind of feel like these upper tiers overall, I don't expect to see any substantial changes before their full release. They don't quite feel ready for release yet. Honestly, it almost feels like they're being put out as subs have been repeatedly put in the game as, you know, work in progress. I don't know what they have in mind for these top tiers. How they kind of expect players to play them, and of course there's always going to be a difference between how Wargaming has planned for players to play a ship and how players actually then play the ship. But in this case, yeah, apart from being an opportunist and being able to successfully push in with allies, which is what you can do in most gunboat destroyers, yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what these higher tier ones are meant to be suited for. And I'm only at the tier 8 for crying out loud, so yeah. I don't know, maybe the stuff I've read about the tier 9 is wrong and it's completely amazing. I guess I can waste a smoke. And get a little bit of... the smoke cooldown is pretty good. That is one of the benefits of this line. Yeah, a couple of thousand damage in. But yeah, it's not like this isn't sitting in the smoke in a Kitakaze and going pew 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 pew. Or even the German destroyers that have their amazing AP. The 15cm gun ones. They yeah, they just feel like if you can't do stuff to other destroyers or maybe finish off some low health cruisers, it really is relying on the torpedoes, which are just incredibly lackluster. They're slow and they do low damage, and the only saving grace is that at least they don't have a horrid reload time, and at least they have a good range. Right, have I actually got a flooding going? So I'm going, don't cap. Well, yeah, okay, I guess we really don't need to. I do have a whine when people do that unnecessarily. Someone else is tossing it. Oh, wow, I ninja'd that kill pretty damn hard. Okay. See if the SAP does anything to an angled Pobeda. Bear in mind, without Sansonetti, you know, I wouldn't get the benefit of the extra range. And I did see a comment on Reddit today of someone, I can't remember, it was a thread, it was one of the threads about Italian destroyers, and someone saying, I just use Sansonetti. Yeah, you can't use Sansonetti on a whole line though, unless you're made of doubloons and are happy to retrain him for playing, you know, every time you switch tiers. So, yeah. That was alright damage-wise. 73k is not terrible. And, yeah. It actually ended up being okay as well. But this was a team that felt like it was going to win regardless. A little less one-sided than some of the other two matches we've had today. But, yeah. That enemy team wasn't a particularly tough challenge to overcome, so yeah, if your team's gonna win anyway. Oh wait, well I thought, okay, never mind. That one actually ended up being a loss. Why did I think all three of them were wins? I don't know. No, wait, I said at the start of that game that two of them were wins and one was... I don't know, I've confused myself now, and that's probably a good sign I should stop. I need more tea, that's my problem. I'm under-caffeinated, apparently. So, yeah, that's the what's the... Vittorio is Vittorio. I wanted to say Victor there, but that's not right. Anyway, the Vittorio Cuniberti, the Tier 8 Italian destroyer, and I'll probably go away and play it some more, and I might even do another live recorded one, you know, next week sometime. But, yeah... First impression, not overly impressed. It might be a little better than the Terrigo just from the improved torpedo range, but it's also a far tougher tier overall. And if I was just playing for fun, honestly, I probably wouldn't go past the Avieri. Because, you know, you can get away with more stuff at tier 6 overall. Just the fact that there's less radar is a pretty big thing. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you can do all the usual things down underneath it, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.